You know what happens Friday here in the 252? They're letting the kids out of school for the whole summer. When did this start? When did somebody say, you know what they should do for kids going to school? We should give 3 months off. Now, I think it had to have been started by teachers, and let me just say I completely agree with it. If you've been stuck.
Farmers, man. They did it for farmers because everybody needed their children's help on the farm back in the day.
Very good. Mm-hmm. That makes so much sense. Because my other common sense answer was anybody that has to deal with somebody else's kids needs 3 months off after dealing with that for 8 hours a day. Because they're not your kids. And then we took spanking them away from these people. I'm not going to deliver my opinions on that, but what it does mean is that many of you that still go to school, you're going to enjoy this sacred practice of having the entire summer off. And all I do now is I used to enjoy it, because I've got 3 kids at home. You don't have any kids. When I was
known kids,
right? You don't know that you have any kids out there yet. But I think early on I just sort of said, "Oh, that's nice. Good for the kids. Good for them. Enjoy the summer." And the older I get, I think the more I just become bitter and mad that it's not me who gets 3 months off. I'm like, look at you schmoes. You don't do anything all week, and then they're like, "Oh, so exhausted from living my life as a child. I need 3 months off." And again, man, they don't dictate.
They're kids, man. You got to have some fun as a kid. Let's go back and let's just take your summer vacation away that you used to have as a child.
No,
do you
those
think
were the best night. That's why
exactly.
I said that's why I'm hating on it, because it was great and you loved it too. I mean, you're not
absolutely
that far removed. I mean, it's a great time in your life. What I don't like is I think I look at kids sometimes and when it's like 2 weeks into the vacation and I'm bored.
Ooh, see, no. Now that is the biggest mistake that you can make as a child is to go to your parents. So it was my mother. My mother at home.
Such a bad mistake.
If I went to my mom and said, middle of July, Mom, I'm bored. Well, you better find something to do, or else I'm gonna give you something to do. That is what my mother always said to us.
Kids are stubborn, hard-headed by nature. It took my kids a while to stop doing that, but they finally quit doing that. Because you're right. Anytime it's like, oh, you're bored. Fantastic. These are the drawers in which we keep all the Tupperware. Notice how everything's completely out of place. Lids here. No, there's nothing worse than those kind of projects,
wow. Well, the baseboards are looking awfully dirty. Why don't you go clean the baseboards? Do you do like a list of chores?
Every day.
Okay, because that's
every day. It's like I want you to earn the free internet and cable that you're enjoying all day while I'm at work.
Yes.
Right?
My mom didn't call them chores. She said you have a list. I made you a list. So in the kitchen of the house I grew up in with my parents, there was like an island, and on the island there was 3 chairs. And it was where, my mother would feed us breakfast or lunch, whatever it was. 3 chairs, 3 children. And we each had the same seat that we always sat in. Nice. I sat on the right. My brother sat in the middle. My sister sat on the far left. Every single morning during the summer, we would get up and it'd be like, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. Because that's what it's like when you're a kid. You're just ready to get outside and go run and play with your friends and have a good time. It would be... not till you finish your list, and you would go downstairs and sitting right there. It could be a half page. It could be a full page front and back. It just depended on how good of a mood my mom was in that day. But it was, you can't step outside until you finish your list.
Yes.
And she was a big fan of the baseboards. I mean, man, I bet we had the most spotless baseboards this side of the Mississippi because every single morning, one of us was down there, hands and knees with a paper towel, wiping the baseboards.
Yeah. We have all that. My wife is in charge of handing out that stuff. Kitchen, bathroom, everybody's like assigned an area. Right. That way, if you come home and it's like the laundry area is not the way you think it, the bathroom's not clean, you can go down the list and go, oh, this was Cameron's responsibility. And, as I said, it's fantastic. I mean, as a kid, it's truly, but like everything, I think you really have to have it taken away from you to really appreciate it in its fullest. I think once you're so like I am at age 44. As I said earlier, the only people my age that get the whole summer off are either teachers or the unemployed, and
or us, because we're taking literally 2 weeks off.
yeah, 2 weeks is not 3 months though.
This is true. Yes.
But it is and was one of my best times. I mean, you know, all the stuff you did, because there was always like maybe a vacation involved in there. You'd go a week or two somewhere. There was, I mean, all the things, whether it was going to the beach, whether it was going out every day playing. I mean, it's a great time.
Summer camps, man. I loved summer camps.
You
And
brought
those
up-
Boy Scout camps. Boy Scout camps were terrible.
You brought up something funny though. I mean, our and yours was, and oftentimes my generation accuses itself. It was really, it happened in the 90s. So it was really Sam's, because I was a kid in the 70s and the 80s.
Am I gonna be proud of this, or am I gonna be?
No, I
like,
think you're going to be
insulted
proud
by
of it. You're
this?
the last generation of my kids. If we were, you're not going outside until the chores are done. My chores would never get done. They don't even care about being outside.
Right.
Outside in the heat. That's what
good.
they do now. They're like, what? I mean, we have access to a pool. Where I live. I mean, it's great. The kids, you got to drag them over there. I'm like, if I had access to this when I was a kid, I mean, I'll be honest.
Man.
When I say access to a pool, I don't mean like, hey, I live in a community. I mean, I have access to a pool I can get naked in probably.
Right. I don't know any pool that I couldn't get naked in.
Right. That you couldn't?
Couldn't. Yeah,
couldn't.
that's what I said.
You could get in naked in any pool.
I would go get naked in any pool
in
right
the
now.
YMCA pool.
Done it.
That changes. I hope somebody's listening to our show at the YMCA and is like, get out of the water.
Right. The pool is the best, man. We used to live. So we didn't have a pool where I lived, but my cousins had a pool, and so they lived across town. So we would always go over there, and it would be the whole just drop us off and pick us up at the end of the day kind of deal, because we would just live in the pool and we would come up with all sorts of games. My two favorite, we got one of those inflatable rafts. We could probably sit like 3 or 4 kids in it, and me, my brother, and my cousin, we would get in it and we would play Big Rock is what we called it, because we love to go offshore fishing at the Big Rock. You get out there and you're going through 4 or 5 foot swells, rocking all around. So we would get in this raft and we would just rock that thing until we flipped it over, and we would just be sitting there in the pool, 6 and 7 year olds yelling Big Rock, and flipping this raft over. And then we also played Fear Factor. My cousin had a small, I'll say 10-inch by 10-inch combination safe, and we would take that thing and we would put stuff inside of it, and we would shut the door and we would chuck it into the deep end.
Oh, nice.
And then you had to go get whatever was out of there, and if you didn't do it in one breath, you lost. Parents were not a fan of that one.
Circular pool, whirlpool.
Ooh.
One of the most exciting parts of being a kid. When you got that thing really going, I mean, when there's like 3 or 4 of you in the circular pool, and you've done it for like 30 minutes, where your legs are just jello at this point, and you let go, and it's like, it feels like the undertow at the beach. It's fantastic. I mean, I love it. I think of the best part about the summer, and hard to say what the best part of it is. But so this is a generalization, and I read what you were writing, and you're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Is just the 3 months allows you to have this amazing series of adventures. That's what the best part of summer vacation as a kid. 1 week, who knows? You're buried in a book reading one of the great adventures. I know kids, maybe audio books now, whatever. There's always, when you get older, right? The summer love, right? The fling, the girl you chase all summer. We've all had a couple of those.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you're a girl,
the
the guy.
backseat romance,
whatever.
man. That's the thing in high school.
Then there's just so much. Camps, mini vacations. It's 3 months. The best part about that is that it's so long that it allowed you to have just multiple adventures throughout the summer. And that's what I miss most about it.
That's what she said.
So, happy summer, kids. The adults got to work. And you get to enjoy all the benefits. My grocery bill, my internet, all that stuff goes way up in the summertime. My kids.
I bet you get home and your thermostat has been messed with all day long.
I was telling you, the worst part about it is coming home and seeing 8 kids you don't know. Asking you where the mustard is while they're making a sandwich in your kitchen. I'm like, who are you?
Who the hell are you?
Get
Why
out
are
of
you
my
eating
kitchen.
my bologna?
Not my pastrami! It's going to be a fun summer, kids. We need to take a break. We'll come back.